Why is it that we readily believe corruption and manipulation in TV shows, but in real life, when we're faced with that same amount of corruption and manipulation, there tends to be a denial, deflection, and a refusal to see it? And the reason why is it's safe to see it when you're watching a TV show. It's not going to annihilate you to see that the world is full of smoke and mirrors and lies, deception, corruption. That doesn't actually, you know that that's a TV show. And it's safe to actually let out your feelings about the insane corruption about the real world. You can let them out and process them by watching a TV show that shows the same types of dynamics. But if you're faced with it head on, in, for instance, with like the 2020 corruption we all kind of collectively dealt with, and then, or if you're in a corrupt workplace environment, or if you're in a corrupt relationship that relies on you gaslighting yourself and living under that person's rule, then you can't face that level of corruption head on, because that actually threatens your reality, and that threatens you because you are living in it, so you're immersed in it. So that's why also I think that people really love watching somebody who rebels against the system on TV or on a movie, because that's the fantasy everybody has, but they don't actually feel like they can act that out ever. Even in the most mundane of situations, there tends to be a cowardice and a I'm just taking orders, I'm just doing what I'm told, I'm a child, they're an adult, I'm no authority. There tends to be that kind of regression happen with people. And it's because we're trained that way in school. In public school, you are trained to raise your hand to ask before you can go to the bathroom. And you're trained to have a childlike obedience, and then you're continually infantilized as you're in the job application process. You're a child asking an authority to give you something. Like, there's not an idea, an entrepreneurial, individualistic mindset that says, you know what, you can start your own business. That's not part of any schooling. They don't even want the word entrepreneur in any aspect of your mind. Like, they want they create and mold a sense of there's always someone that I need to outsource my authority to. So it's like, doctor says, the media says, and you look at the places that are the most corrupt. They all impact you in your survival instinct. So big pharma and the medical industry, it's life or death. So you have to trust. It's pretty uncomfortable to believe that they don't have your best interests at heart, because that's life and death for you. Your physical body is at their whim, in their hands. And the media, that's how you even get information to know what you know. And you don't know what you don't know if you haven't been exposed to it. So the curation of material, this particular slandering and misrepresenting and mischaracterizing other material, so that that creates your perception. So these two corrupt entities are completely vital for you to even be living and understanding your reality in terms of your body and your mind. So the media is your mind, and then the medical is your body. So it's a huge threat to, I mean, if you are confronting the corruption in these, you are confronting more than even, you are so terrified, because it puts a complete damper on your reality. You are instantly in cognitive dissonance. In fact, even articulating it is hard to articulate, because it just completely warps your sense of safety and what you know as real in your world. And so, of course, it's safe to watch a TV show where you can almost cosplay at being a rebel or being a person that isn't easily fooled, is a leader, is somebody that will go up against manipulation, deception, corruption. And that gives you an experience like that's who you are, because your subconscious mind actually does view, when you're immersed in a show, your subconscious mind sees that the same way as if those are the people that you work with. That's why watching comedies really does help you, because you feel as though you're around this kind of warmth and good humor, and it gets you out of funks, it gets you out of your depression. Whereas if you watch a depressing show when you're already depressed, that will amplify it. And so that's what I find fascinating, is the readiness to accept and to really indulge in corruption and manipulation and deception when it's in the scope of a story, versus in your own life, there's a complete head in the sand, complete deflection, denial, fear. And we're supposed to be using our art in order to help us understand reality better. But what happens is we have it almost compartmentalized, where art is that way and that's how stories are. People say, oh, that's how stories are. But reality, oh, it's so much more boring. And maybe, and it's a hopeful thought, maybe it's more boring, or maybe art is based on these realities, and it's not just, it's worth realizing that there are real life Gus Fring kind of enterprises where the most altruistic, posing humanitarian type is obviously corrupt and on several levels, posing as one business but actually having a whole other underground criminal enterprise. And I think a lot of people are ready to think that with some people, but it's almost like if they're told the right kinds of like little catchphrases that make that person seem like they're good, then they'll think, oh, well, they said this, so they've said this kind of like almost key phrase that means, oh, well, they're on my side, they're on my team. There's like a tribalism to, like, people are, like, it's, for me, I think it's important to be able to recognize cults all around. The cults on the right, the cults on the left. So there's right-wing cults. Trump is an obvious cult, and he has that narcissistic con man personality. It's obvious. Even if you're someone that thinks, well, he really went against the system. Yeah, but he cannot, he's textbook narcissist, cannot take any kind of criticism and go, I mean, the way he has a kind of toddler response. And Andrew Tate, another right-wing, clearly a narcissistic cult leader, but yet people just kind of are rigid in their continual need for a savior at any cost. And then we have on the left doesn't, it actually relies on the mob as its own kind of cult leader. The mob is frightening. It's not like one tyrant yelling that's scary, so much as a complete unhinged group of social justice warrior type of leftists that are just, it's like just a bunch of bees coming at you. So it has the cult, its cult-like qualities and fanaticism center around language and manipulating language and manipulating reality in a chaotic way. And then the right has the cult leader of rules, and these are the rules and we're going to define it. And both of them are unhinged, and both of them have personalities that seem one way or another. And it's important to see the corruption all around instead of getting entrenched in your tribe. But anyway, that's getting off on another topic. But the main thing is, why is it that we can readily recognize TV show corruption, and we can jump on board in that journey and anticipate and connect patterns and identify with the quote conspiracy theorist character, and yet in real life we there's a tendency to hide from that. And I think we answered it by saying it's really about self-protection and not wanting to face that level of corruption because it threatens your whole view of reality. But what do you think? I think it's really interesting to think about.